bottle. If I looked at the search term like women's pink rubber coated insulated water bottle, like that's my exact product. Now, the more specific you get to the product, the more specific the search is, the lower your search volume is going to be. So what we always look to do on product launches is like we try and find the intersection between good search volume and good to us is like maybe even a couple thousand, depending on the budget, that also have really good relevancy to the product. Because what you're trying to do is you want to get in front of your exact shoppers. So example would be insulated water bottle is going to be really expensive and not super specific to my product. Like it's kind of specific, but not really specific. I'm trying to say like, okay, where can I start getting super specific to my product, but it's going to have enough search volume that I can get the sales volume that I need. So I would focus more on that versus than I would looking at only search volume. A bit of a technical answer here is we don't quote move them, meaning we're not going to pause the existing keywords. We're simply going to launch them in another match type. Again, make sure to keep the bids lower. Amazon actually, if you read their recommendations, they recommend keeping bids lower on broad and phrase match, even lower than the exact match. When we would launch those is honestly really dependent on performance of the account and availability of the budget. So if you launch a keyword in exact phrase and broad, so you have 50 keywords, right? And you launch them in exact phrase and broad, you technically have, 150 keywords that you've launched. And the potential of broad and phrase to spend could be quite high. So again, you just want to make sure it makes sense. It seems super simplistic, but if you are in a phase where you're struggling to control total ACoS and ACoS, to fix those two numbers, it really means that you have to lower down your ad spend with ideally little to no impact of the total sales or the ad sales in the case of ACoS. If you introduce a whole, again, those 50 keywords in exact phrase and broad, and those you probably need to test and optimize the bids, etc., you're introducing a lot of additional ad spend into the account. So you do want to be aware of that and be careful with that. So that's kind of a benchmark that we use. But overall, I would say, I don't know if I would have like a certain time frame or a frame which I would hold back on. It really is dependent on the performance of the account. Another good question, which best bid strategy for phrase and exacts when you move? So again, we don't really move them. We would simply launch them in addition. We like to separate them by campaign as well. I think it gives us a little bit more control over, say, budgets for things. Now, as far as the bidding strategy, we're a super huge fan of using mainly dynamic down only. If it is a keyword that we want to ensure that we get impressions for, so for our launch keywords, for our main keywords, for anything we're trying to be aggressive with, we prefer a fixed bidding strategy. It's still going to be the same. It's still going to be pick highly relevant keywords. One other tip is pick keywords that fit within the budget of the account that you're launching. So for instance, if I have a couple $100 a day budget versus $50 a day budget, those launches are actually going to look a little bit different because I can't afford that many clicks on a $50 a day budget. Or if I had, a couple $100 or $1,000, I have a lot more room for clicks. So actually, you want budgets to play into your launch strategy. The other thing that you want to keep in mind, do not expect profitability on launch. This is a huge one. There's a lot of people that try and pull back and knee-jerk for profitability right out of the gate. That is not going to happen. The reason why it's not going to happen, and I'll tell you the numbers behind the numbers, is that ACoS is just going to be high on your product launches, and that is a function of two things. One, the aggressive cost per click you have to set to be able to get visibility in the beginning, and two, how low your product conversion rate is going to be, especially if you're launching without reviews. Those two things, once you start to be able to bring your cost per clicks down because you gain momentum or you're optimizing your bids, and then two, once your product conversion rate starts to increase because you're getting those reviews, maybe you're optimizing your listing a little bit more because you've learned more about your target market, that is going to help bring down your target ACoS. So those things, again, conversion rates is going to be low, high cost per clicks. That's actually like the nuts and bolts of why your ads are not profitable, and it's almost unreasonable to expect profitability in the beginning. And that's actually why, if you've ever had a product where you're like, no matter what I do, I cannot seem to bring the ACoS down, I'm struggling here, it's a function of that your conversion rate is remaining low and it's not improving, and your cost per clicks are remaining high and you're not able to improve them due to the market or something else. So again, I would still say pick highly relevant keywords, Also, make sure that whatever keywords that you have fits within your budget. Launch them. Aggressive, sponsor product, exact match, potentially sponsor brand video, exact match if you have the creative. Double down on that for a couple weeks and then start expanding from there. Hello, and welcome back to another Ask Junglr live session. Hey, I'm your host, Elizabeth Greene, one of the co-founders of Junglr. So this segment is sponsored by Junglr. We are an Amazon ad management agency, and what we do is help founder-led brands, because founder-led brands have to grow off of their own bottom line. They don't have a $15,000, $20,000 budget. Just throw at ads and say, hey, let's see what happens and optimize from there. You guys need profitable growth. So that is what obviously, if you're enterprise, you're calling in, you want the big top of the funnel brand awareness plays. I'm more than happy to answer those questions. But for those of you who are like, hey, I need good, sustainable, profitable growth, this is the place for you. So, hey, this segment is the Ask Junglr segment. The way that this works is I'm here for you. I almost said like wind, rain, or shine, anything happens, because I did show up like on my anniversary. I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm going live. But we did recently have a hurricane and I did miss out, not because I didn't want to, because I lacked internet and power. But we are back. So whether our internet permitting, we are here every single Thursday on this same time frame, so 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm here for an hour, and feel free to drop your Amazon ad questions into the chat, and then I'll pull them up and we will start going over how you all can improve your ads. Man, we got people in. Hello from Egypt. Hello. Welcome. I appreciate you joining. Man, whenever people join super late in their evenings, I always am super appreciative. And then, hey, how are you? I'm doing good today. I'm having a good day. Probably a little bit over caffeinated, although I didn't get a chance to grab another cup of coffee before this, but I'm feeling energized, feeling good, feeling like I'm ready to answer some Amazon ad questions. Cool. So I don't know if you guys realize it, but Q4 is bearing down upon us. Yes, people saying, hey, from Pakistan. Hello. Yes, you're joining super late. And for that, I thank you. It's always really humbling when people are willing to stay up super late to listen to me yap on about Amazon ads, which is my absolute favorite topic. All right, cool. Let me get into this because we already have some things rolling in the comments. And then if we have any lean time, I have some pro tips for you guys as far as a presentation that I just did. I don't know how many people saw the presentation, but I have some pro tips on like some really sneaky ways that wasted ad spend gets into accounts. And maybe I'll go ahead and share that if I get a chance to. But your question are exact match search terms. All right, negations for automatic campaigns that only run either close or loose targeting group for an undergarment brand in Egypt. All right, I might ask you some clarifying questions on this. So exact match search terms, negations for automatic campaigns that only run either close or loose targeting. All right, got some more context. I have 4 scenarios I'm sure of. I'll split each one. Does the inclusion of the word for get tangled in with the exact match search term negation? Sports bras, women. Also negates sports bra for women. Yeah, so clarification. No worries. You don't even want to know how badly I type. All right. Let's get into it. It can. So what we've noticed is that the algorithm will ignore like, was it 2-letter words, 2 and 3-letter words. It kind of like ignores and swap things out. So it is entirely possible. I would say test it because there are some times where it kind of gets a little bit funky when it's a 3-letter word. But I would, if you want to play it safe, I would say be careful about negating it. Now, if it's something that's really performing horribly and you want to get rid of it, then in those cases, I would say it's worth testing it and then go back a little while later and then just see if it's made a negative impact or you had an issue with that actually getting negated. From my remembering correctly, like the word the word and, the word or, of, for, those ones tend to get kind of swapped out a little bit. How can I join your team as an intern? We don't have any current intern positions open. Look for that in the future. We do we still have it up on the website? We do have no, we don't. We don't have it up there. I was going to say we did have a job posting link on the website at the bottom. It looks like we've kind of switched over some stuff. We're working on that. But it doesn't look like that's active. We're not currently hiring for the role, but if you ever see like any sort of job postings anywhere, feel free to throw your hat in the ring because we keep those on file and then we look through them if we need to make a hire. I agree about testing. It becomes strictly if you're one version converting, the other one not converting. I do agree. In those cases, what we do is we will just adjust it at the bid level. It's not the greatest thing, but if you have something that's underperforming, but you still want to like keep one search term and you realize that you have to trigger the other search term, I would just look at the aggregate, meaning like the total sum of all search terms triggered through that keyword, which means you would just be adjusting your bid off of whatever that particular ACoS is. Not the greatest solution. Obviously, the more incremental we can get, the better. The problem is when Amazon doesn't allow us to have that super incremental control, you essentially, I feel like I say this every single week, but I'm like, control the things you can't and release the things, control the things you can and then release the things you can't, is essentially, it's what a lot of life is in ad management. All right. Hey, Elizabeth. Hello. Hope you're doing well. I am. Thank you so much for asking. What keyword ranking strategies are you currently using? Fantastic question. The entire goal for ranking is how many orders can we possibly get through that one specific search term. Now, I know there's a lot of talk in our space around like, oh, target like long tail search variations of the keyword and all of that stuff. That does help. It's not going to have the most impact. So the most impact for any ranking keyword is going to be getting orders specifically through that search, getting a lot of orders. So we don't just want one, we want a lot. And also making sure that our click-through rate and our conversion rate are really high on those key terms. So I'll be honest with you, the biggest impact on ranking you can have is really by picking the right keywords. So if your question was, how do I figure out what keywords do I rank on? I would say like look for things that you can afford to spend a lot, i.e. you're not losing money, meaning ACoS isn't like so crazy high that you can't afford it. You want to look for things that you have really good conversion rates. Bonus points if you have good click-through rates here, but I would go for conversion rates over click-through rates. And then you just want to like put money towards that. Now, if you say, how do I rank on this specific keyword, then that question is a little bit different. And I'm just going to tell you like push volume. Now, what I recognize is that me saying, hey, push volume through a one specific search might mean that that's not super profitable. So that's where I'm saying like the real trick is going to lie in the actual targets that you select to rank on. Other things, some pro tips and some pro hacks are more advanced, but can be helpful here is if you have a specific search where it's like crazy expensive and you just don't really have the budget for it. Again, that goes back to keyword selection. Make sure you're selecting keywords where you can afford to spend that budget on it. But if we're on a specific keyword, I would say what you can do, because you want to make sure that you're showing high enough in search that you can really get those good conversions and get those eyeballs on the product. But maybe you can't afford a ton of clicks because there's a lot of clicks and they're really expensive. What you can do is you can use the budget as sort of a lever to cap or meter how much money you are spending for that ranking play. Now, how effective that is going to be how many orders your market is making, and that's relative. So when I talk about trying to get a large amount of orders, you want it's relative to the other competition that is on that particular search page. So that's what you're looking to do. The other thing that we have seen work, again, it's kind of like the long tail keywords. There's not as much impact for it, but any little bit can help, is targeting products that rank well on those keywords. Again, it depends on like how well do you perform on those. There's a whole host of things, but I would say like if you want, sort of like an added that just going after product targeting for ranked competitors on a keyword, just that alone is not going to most likely be enough to really rank you on the keyword. So you really have to do like specific keyword targeting, but you can add that on, and you can add on the long tail keywords to sort of, again, make sure you're hitting it on all cylinders. Hopefully that was helpful. Have any follow-up questions on ranking? Let me know. I put my main keyword from auto to manual, and ACoS is above 75%, and the auto has 35%. What is the solution for this? Should I negate my main keyword? Do not negate it in the auto. You will simply cause all of that traffic to go to the above 75% ACoS, and essentially you will increase the ACoS in your account. Trust me, the only reason I'm telling you not to do that, and I'm warning you, is because I have tried it. I've tried it, and it doesn't work. So never negate anything that's working well. You only want to use negatives to block traffic that is not converting. And what I would say is the reasons for it is that the performance is not exactly the same. Now, my question to you would be like, if you're doing it from an auto, I'm assuming that's a search term. You're talking about search term versus a keyword. There are 3 things that will determine what ACoS you have. One of those things is going to be the same for both of these. So that doesn't matter which is your average order value, or basically the product price. So that hasn't changed. But the 2 things that might have changed is 1, the cost per click, and 2, the keyword conversion rate. So you want to figure out which of these is it. Is it more expensive? Is there higher ACoS because the conversion rates are the same, but the cost per click is higher? So you're paying more for clicks, which honestly is normal in a new campaign. And then the second thing that might have happened is the conversion rate might not be as high. So what do you do for that? 1, you just kind of need to run the campaign and give it a couple weeks. What we've seen is that over time, providing the product converts on that keyword, you should see cost per clicks go down. But the other thing that you can do is potentially look at placement percentages to see, is there a particular placement that's converting better? And so to see if you can increase it there. I would say when that's normal, it's not great, but it is normal. And I would just, again, adjust cost per clicks, adjust bids to adjust the cost per click, and then adjust the placements. All right. I paused a previous sponsored brand campaign on Amazon. Now I'm getting emails from Amazon offering me $500 in sponsored brand credits if I resume. Does this mean I can run $500 worth of DS for free, or is it a partial discount? Yeah, so you should be able to run $500 worth of sponsored brands for free, which is great. So congratulations, you got a $500. Obviously, their goal here is that you will take those $500, spend them, and then continuously spend on the sponsored brand ads. So that's their incentive. But yeah, they're pretty much giving you free credits, but they're only applied. They're automatically applied, I believe, but it's only specifically to that. Obviously, whatever they designated, which in this case is sponsored brand ads. How are you doing today? I'm doing well. I appreciate the ask. All right. Question: we're getting orders from the rest of the pages or the product page. Will it affect ranking at all, or does it only top of search impact ranking? Both of those will impact ranking. So it doesn't matter the placements at all, as long as you are getting sales through that one specific search page, you'll be fine. Now, the reason why top of search is more desirable in a rank campaign, there is misinformation out there that people are like, top of search always converts better and it's better for ranking. That's bullcrap. It's not true. However, top of search does get way more impressions, right? As soon as the search page loads, everyone who's searching that is going to see your product. So there's that. You get way more eyeballs on the product, which typically means there's more clicks. And oftentimes the conversion rate is higher on top of search, but that's not always the case. And so what I say, it has a potential to drive much greater volumes at a higher conversion rate, both of which are very impactful for ranking. So it's like the results of top of search that can help, i.e. the volume and the conversions. It's not that it's the best or anything. Like both product pages and rest of search, we've seen that they have impact. It's just, are they having as much impact if the position of the ads was higher? That would be the question. How do you know what change impacted the sales, assuming you have over 50 SKUs and more than 200 campaigns? Great question. All right, I'm going to, Lydia, I'm going to ask a follow-up question here. When you're saying impacted the sales, are we talking total sales or are we talking ad sales? And I know you're always active in the comments, so I'll put a pin in that one because my answer will honestly be a little bit different depending on which way we're going about it, because there's different workflows for those. All right, I have a product with free variations. The problem is the Chinese commodity product is only priced around £3.99. I'm a second month into launch, getting ranked and main keyword in the top 5 position. The problem is profitability. I've always had the best conversion rate in the niche due to great product differentiation. What's the best strategy to become profitable? I'm going to share something with you because I just went through this. And I'll drop this link in the comments, actually. Let me pull this up because this is a fantastic question. All right, let's talk profitability and path to profits. Your issue here, so I don't know what your cost per clicks are. But I'm going to share, let me share this with you. I'm going to drop it. Looks like you're on Facebook, which means you should be able to get this link to this profit sheet. There is a sheet demo here. I recommend you watch it. It'll tell you how to do this. So essentially what you want to do is you want to forecast out. So look at your unit goals and your sales goals. What you need to figure out is what is the net profit per unit before you spend on advertising. And that's the problem with low price products, is that the net profit per unit ends up being a lot lower, so you can afford less. So then essentially what this part of the forecast tool does is say, okay, here is my net profit per unit, which is obviously higher. You want to plug in your own numbers. And then it gives you your margins. And then what this is going to do is say, hey, how many clicks on average do you need to convert to a sale? And then given that this is my net profit, what is my break-even cost per click will be? Now, the kind of the issue here is that your break-even cost per click is going to oftentimes be at odds of what the market, like your market costs are, right? Because I can put in a 30-cent bid all day long. Is that even competitive? Is Amazon going to give me any impressions for that? Oftentimes, no. So the way that you can play in these sort of markets and the way that you can get, ideally some profits, right? Because if I looked at this product right here, this is a $10 product. I say, great, I can never make this thing profitable because I'm only ever going to be able to spend 30 cents and be able to get it profitable. That's not actually true. The way that you get these types of really commoditized, like really low price products profitable is you offset the ad costs by organic. And as long as you can offset them enough, you will be able to grow the product and still retain profits. So how does this work? That's where this profitability goal and this ad sale percentage goal comes in. So if I said, okay, I needed to make, I want to make a 10% margin off of this product, or I'm already at close to a 30% margin. And I'm saying my ad sale percentage, meaning 60%, which means 40% of my total sales are coming from organic. Then at that point, I'm going to be a target net profit of $1 per product. I can afford to go up to a 20% total ACoS target. And then instead of only having $2.99 to spend, I can spend $3.32, which means I can go up, it's only 3 cents, but I can go up a little. So the higher the lower this number is, so let's say if we got it down to a 50%, I could afford to spend 40 cents cost per click because I'm offsetting it by 50% of my total sales coming from organic. So yeah, I mean, like, you have to play. I would download this tool. I would make a copy of it. I go through like how to even use this as well. Like, how do you forecast what your profitability would be? And you'll get an idea of that. Like, you could actually try and see if you could build out a forecast to like, what does profitability look like? Like, where do my cost per clicks need to be? Where does my ad sale percentage need to be for me to be able to achieve target profits? And then that will give you an idea. Or at the very least be like, hey, where do I even get break even? And then what is the goals off of that? All right. Hi. What is more important for ranking? Number of orders or total sales? Assuming smart price increase and expecting less orders or more sales. So it's going to be, I'm trying to remember if it's the number of orders or number of units moved, but it's not just total sales. It's the it is the specific number of orders that you make through that specific search page. So let's say we had a water bottle, right? People are typing in like metal water bottle and pink metal water bottle and blue water bottle and insulated water bottle and with straw. And there's all these other like places. So we're making like all of those, if we're making sales on all those keywords, all of those are going to be counted in our total sales for the product, right? But how many orders are we making specifically on pink metal water bottle for her? If we can make a large amount of total orders through that one specific shopper search, then we can outrank your competitors. That's why it's possible for you to outrank even some of the top sellers in the space on a very specific term. You might not outpace them in terms of your BSR. Like, you'll probably have a much lower BSR, but you can have better rankings than them. That's why I often get the opposite of that question. And like, hey, I'm the best seller in my space according to Helium 10 or any other like software tools I'm using. I'm making more in sales than one of this competitor. How come they're outranking me? Well, it's because they're doing better through that one specific search. So hopefully that answered the question. Of course, if you have any follow-up questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. All right, question. Is launching a campaign horizontal and vertical enough, or we could do to build a brand? I don't know what you're talking about launching a campaign horizontal and vertical. Are you talking about sponsored brands and the videos vertical and horizontal? Because if that's the case, I would test both of them if you have the creatives for it. But if you have another follow-up question, let me know. All right, is it even possible to get impressions on a particular placement? If so, we tried placement modifiers, get impressions. No, you can't. I wish. So what people have tried and tested is putting really low bids on a specific keyword and then just putting a really high placement percentage on whatever placement that they want to make sure that they're driving. The issue we've seen with that is that the volumes that you're able to get, meaning how many impressions you can get, is going to be a lot less than if you just put a higher bid and incremental placements. So until they give us, say, negative placements, yes, you can influence which placement you want to like invest more in, but you're never going to get 100% like, oh, this is only my top of search. This is only my product page placement campaign. It's pretty much not going to happen. Unfortunately, that's why I say, like, control the things you control and release the things you can't, and just make sure you're optimizing based on the things that you can control for the best performance based on data. All right, they should have a tool you can use to type in a search term you want to negate and cross-check with other search terms to see if cross-negation occurs. We'll avoid inadvertent negation and successful. That would be fabulous. I would love it. I'm sure there's a tool out. I was going to say I'm sure there's a tool out there that does it, but to be honest, I don't know if there is. Something to think on. Tool providers. Interesting idea. There's a lot of people who want to like negate and double check their negatives and see like if negatives used to be performing. I would recommend making that tool. That would be fantastic. All right. If you have 2 variations, so what is the best strategy to launch a campaign? I'm going to give me 1 second. I got to find it. But we have a YouTube video on the best strategy for launcher, like campaign structure for variations. I will say if you have the data to know which of your variations is going to perform best, then you want to make sure that you are, I would focus in on the best seller. If you have no data and you don't know which ones perform, I would put them both in the same ad group. I would see, you want to go back and check which one is performing, pause the one that's not performing, but I would go through and I would do it that way. And then let me see if I can find this. It's not letting me search. That's dumb. Okay. Anyways, I would recommend doing that approach. If you have any follow-up questions on variations, we deal with a lot of variations. We deal with clothing brands, other sorts of like insane amounts of variations, which I sympathize. It's an absolute pain. All right, so going back to, let's see what the question was. It was on... All right. How do you know what change impacted sales? Assume you have over 50 SKUs and more than 200 campaigns. So this was a follow-up on that one. Assume both scenarios, ad sales increase also. Increased or decreased? You know what change impacted sales? Okay. So if we are talking total sales, there are 3 things that impact sales, 2 of which are the ones that change the most, and that is your traffic, i.e. your sessions, and your conversion rates, i.e. unit session percentage, typically, unless we're talking vendor accounts. In this case, I want to know, my first question, if I looked across 50 SKUs, I would probably roll this up to the parent ASIN. I find it much easier. Now, if these are not variation SKUs, then just keep them at the child variation or the SKU level. I want to know on which product. My first question is, on which product did sales increase the most? So we use and absolutely love KPOC for this. This is KAPOQ. They're a software provider. We've been using them for 2 years. I have no affiliate link. I think they give you a discount if you mentioned me or something, but they have been instrumental in, so either you have to pull this data manually, which is totally doable. You could totally do it. It's painful. It's obnoxious. Or I could simply go into KPOC and I could find out this answer in 2 seconds, but I digress. All right. You need to pinpoint the point of change. When did things start changing? There's normally like some sort of demarcation on the graph that says, okay, so last Tuesday, something started to shift, right? You want to figure out that point of change. Then you want to figure out what is the number of days from that point of change till now. And you would take that same date range, you want to look prior. And then what you want to do is you want to look at the data sets and say, okay, across all of my products. So here I would be, again, if we have to do this manual, we'll talk through it manually. KPOC has a really nice graph that has a comparison chart. So I literally go through and like select the state range and it will automatically select the same amount of days prior. And I can like instantly pull everything across all SKUs, even if we have like 50,000 SKUs, like instantaneously. It's chef's kiss fabulous. But if I wanted to do it on manually, what I want to do is go into business reports. I want to download, you're going to have to download 2 reports. You're going to have to put them together. You're going to download the prior date range and after date range. And then what you want to do is you want to say, okay, on which product did sales increase the most? Because now I wanted to be able to just narrow in. The entire process I'm going to tell you is a constant like narrowing in of what changed so I can better understand where I can take actions. All right. Now I know which product changed. I want to know what number changed. So I'm going to look at two things. I'm going to look at sessions, and I'm going to look at conversion rate, i.e. unit session percentage. I want to know, is it more traffic that's going to the listing, or is that more of that same traffic is converting? Those are my questions. And then once I understand that, especially if it's a traffic thing, I would go into the advertising and I would say, okay, where am I advertising this product? Pro tip here, another Chef's Kiss fabulous update to Amazon is their product tab. You can actually go into the product tab. You can search for that specific ASIN and you can say, where in my campaigns is this specific ASIN being advertised? And then you can say, all right, what is the performance of this? Has impressions increased? What keywords did we start pushing? You can go look at ranking over time, right? But the idea is to find the specific product that is mainly concentrated on. So then you're only going through and looking at those specific products versus if you looked across, again, like 50 SKUs, you'd be like, now I have to do this analysis for everything. So whenever you can like narrow it down to a specific point of focus, it immensely speeds up the analysis you have to do, and you can be certain that you're getting to the right things. Now, if we're simply talking ad console, and you're saying, okay, sales increased in ad console, what the heck happened? Or spend increase in ad console, what the heck happened? Or sales went down in ad console, what the heck happened? Again, you're doing the same thing, but instead of looking at it on a like listing level or product level, what I want to do is start looking at it on a campaign level. So instead of doing product, data point, dig down, I'm doing campaign, ad group, target, search term, dig down. So I would look at, again, you want to find the point of change before and after, compare the 2 date ranges, and then I'm going to say what data point I'm looking at. So is it sales? Is it spend? Is it cost per clicks? Whatever it is, which campaign had the biggest jump? Which campaign had the biggest impact? Then I can say, okay, cool. So this campaign has the biggest impact. A very clear example of this was there was one account where like spend all of a sudden went crazy down. And so I was jumping in with my ad manager. I was like walking her through this process. I'm like, okay, so this is the point of change. Like what happened before and after? It was like, wait, these campaigns used to be like spending a whole bunch and making a lot of sales, and all of a sudden like they're not. Like there's like no impressions. What gives? Okay, that's weird. Okay, so like let's dive into that campaign. Okay, so the campaign's active, everything's running, we didn't change bits. Oh, these products got flagged, and so therefore they're ineligible for ads, and all of a sudden all the ads for this one product got shut down, right? And that was the point of demarcation, but we found it by looking at the campaign level, then the ad group level, then you can go down to a keyword and a search term level. This workflow, if you add a negative that has like a significantly like bad impact on the account, you can actually use that workflow to even go and find, like using the history tab. Okay, so what happened around these days when something went off? Oh, we added this negative. Oh, okay, we go and archive it. That's been helpful. All right, I have five scents in the beauty category. I target the best selling scent and the exact match with high depth search, slow selling scent with raise, high ROAS, and product pages. Is this a good strategy? It is absolutely a good strategy. It's a fabulous strategy. I salute you for using it. I would say if you want to take it a step further, one thing that could be helpful with phrase and high res of search. The other thing that you could do on the other scents is if you can find any scent specific terms. So I don't know what the scents are. Although I'm on the hunt for a good perfume. So let me know if you have anything good. But maybe there's like vanilla scents or lavender, or what's other popular ones. If you can find any search terms that are specifically looking for like a lavender scent, vanilla scent, whatever it may be, I don't know if it's like a fragrance or if it's a body oil or something, I would target those specific relevant searches with the very specific scents that are relevant to those searches. That would be another good option, and that would be really helpful. All right, quick question related to bulk bid optimization. Speaking my language, what timeframes would you look at for making bulk bid optimizations? Sponsor project is attributed 7 days, and sponsor display and sponsor brands is 14 days. If we do it every week, don't you think data would overlap? Potentially. Okay, so here's what you want to do. We look at the last 14 days. For most everything, you want to eliminate at least the last 24, maybe 48 hours of data. Also keep in mind for things like Prime Day, for now, if you pull like 14 days or, right after Prime Day, then you're probably going to make poor bid decisions because your data is going to be like, oh, everything was amazing on Prime Day, and it's factoring that in. And that is no longer the case. So keep in mind those things. The one and honestly only downside, other than the fact that it is a manual process to bulk optimizations, is the fact that it is one specific date range that you have to download. So that's you can't have dynamic look back windows, which is unfortunate. But what we found is you want to take a look at, you could take a look if your bid is lower than the cost per click. In these cases, we factor out these because we are if our bid is lower than cost per click and our bid it means our bid hasn't gotten enough clicks at the newer bid to be able to bring down the averages of the cost per click, which means that we probably made our most recent bid adjustments. Factors here is that if you're using dynamic up and down bidding or placement percentages, that will inherently be active. So you do want to have a cross check for that. I would say the other thing as far as the bid overlaps, yes, but you're looking at a rolling data window. It's not like you're going back to look at the same data set. When it's a rolling averages, I don't think it's bad to make adjustments off of rolling averages. Now, the other thing that I will say is if you're only ever looking at a 14-day date window, then they will have those search terms or keywords that just 14 days is not enough time for them to have enough data, i.e. enough clicks to really make a determination. So what we will do is here we'll actually look at a 30 or a 60-day window. And then in these cases, we're only looking for those things that are wasting money, which is mainly clicks with no sale keywords, to identify where we're potentially wasting money, where we can actually, if we look at longer date ranges, we have enough clicks to make the determination. But if we only ever looked at that 14 rolling days, we would end up missing. So hope that's helpful. All right, Zane saying, thanks so much for the profit focus sheet. It's pure smart math. Pray to get my products profitable. I do as well. I really, really hope it is useful. If you have any questions on it, that was something I did for a presentation a little while ago. More than happy to answer any questions. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions. All right, follow-up question. Should I prioritize number of orders for a particular keyword over total sales for a particular keyword? I don't think it really matters because if you're looking at your account, so whenever we're looking at accounts, I will say we do tend to go off of orders because that will, if you change your product price or something, that will change the amount of sales happenings, which will also affect ACoS, by the way. But the orders, if you're looking at orders, then it's more of an apples to apples. It's also easier if we haven't, because there are those accounts that have the really high price products, and then they also have the really low price products. If we're looking at orders, it makes it more of a one-to-one. So oh, this one's getting 20 orders and this one's getting 5. Okay, so that's a bigger difference versus if a product is already say $100, well, if we get one order, the sales on that are going to be $100, which is going to be much more than our $20 product. But, our $20 product has to get 5 orders? Hopefully I did that math right. It has to get enough to be able to make up that difference, right? So we find that orders is a little bit more one-to-one, which is helpful. All right, question. What's the better ACoS optimization technique? Reducing the bids, placing the modifiers, or keeping the same bid modifiers, reducing the budgets? Something I call budget optimization. So if you really want to reduce the ACoS, bid optimizations are going to have the most impact. However, if you want to reduce your total ACoS, budgets tend to be the most impactful here. And these days we find that optimizing based on total ACoS versus, or prioritizing total ACoS numbers, I guess would be a better way to say that, budgets tend to be the most effective. All right, what is the best place for checking conversion rate of your products? Business reports, detailed metrics, brand insights, product tab. So product tab is going to show you your ad conversion rates. Your business reports are going to show you your overall conversion rates. Pro tip here, if your ad conversion rates are well below your unit session percentage, typically that means you're targeting you have a lot of clicks on things that are not converting well for you. So that typically cues us into, hey, we need to optimize our targeting. I would say whenever you're looking at a overall conversion rate number, like if you're looking at to factor in, say, like total sales, then you want to look at your unit session percentage. However, if the calculations are going to be based off of ad performance and it's strictly just looking at advertising, in those cases, you want to use your ad conversion rates. Is it necessary to know every keyword apart from core keywords for portfolios? Assuming you are handling over 10 accounts and each account has 6 to 10 portfolios. No, you should be fine. Really, as long as you're optimizing based off of what is working in the account, i.e. looking at search term reports, you should be fine. Is it good? Now, I will say for your top products and your top keywords, you definitely want to have some keyword tracking set up. What are important metrics you use when analyzing day of week and hour of the day trends? Is it help day parting by day of week? Tools and usual analytics, so I can only use my own data. All right, if you can only use your own data, then you can download a campaign report, a sponsored product campaign report specifically, and you can look at hourly data. In these cases, we like to look at conversion rates and orders are the two things that we analyze. Yeah, assuming every portfolio has 5 to 20 keywords, which makes 150 to 200 keywords. Yes, that is where good processes come into place. So what our processes do is we have all of our products, and then you have like your best practices, meaning like the way you typically adjust your bids. And then what we do is we, in our bid system, have a way for the account managers to identify specific key terms and allow them to input that into the system to say, okay, here is a key term, and I want to be very, very specific with how I'm optimizing this. And then over time, that list grows. So you end up being super incremental and specific when you're doing your optimizations. And that is sort of the best workflow that we found, because yes, you need to make sure, just because you are dealing with a lot of accounts, at least our priority in the way that we approach it is we need to make sure that we're still improving the account and performance can't slip just because we want to get volumes. All right, follow-up question. Should I prioritize number of orders for a particular keyword and have total sales for a particular keyword? I would look at orders because, again, orders I find are more relative to each other. I would say if it's the same product, it's kind of either or. It doesn't really matter. But orders can be helpful. The only difference would be if you tend to have products where people purchase multiple units, then it might be helpful to look at the sales, because if, say, one order contains 3 units, then that sale, the sales on that one is going to be much higher versus the orders. So that would be the only, I would say, difference I would worry about. Elizabeth, nice to see you. Nice to see you as well. I'm glad to see you all. Sorry for me. Hey, no problem. You're here. Hopefully you're finding value, and you can always catch the replay. How would we focus if there's a category of books for Amazon right now focusing on sponsored product campaigns? Running ads for multiple publisher books on Amazon. How should we strategize Amazon campaigns? There are less search volume. Yes. Goodness. Okay. Books are difficult. We have some book accounts we're working with as well. To be honest, there's a lot of agencies that are like, I'm not even going to deal with publisher accounts because, to be honest, the tools aren't really that great. And like, you can't even use bulk files for them. It's obnoxious, really. Although you can, we have been able to hook up the ads, but it's also like really hard to know like the royalties and stuff off of books. So if you want to factor in profitability, i.e. like total ACoS numbers, it's hard to get access to that data, which just means like we want to do right by all of our accounts and make sure that we're optimizing based on what's going to serve them best. And so it's hard to get all those data points that you're looking for. All right. How do you go about it? Sponsored product ads, I would say stick with those. We found that those work really well. I would say product targeting often does really good in books. So you can try that. And I would say anything that allows you to do a lot of like low cost traffic to find long tail variations, so autos and all of that, can be very helpful here, because the problem oftentimes with the book category is not only is it like the prices are very low and there's so many like different things to target. So I would say if you're dealing with lower search volume, kind of broaden that out with like targeting low cost like autos, and then product targeting. And then you can move to sponsor display if you really think it would be helpful. Again, providing you have access to it. Goodness, 15 minutes ago, my voice is like cracking. Hopefully it holds up. All right, I'm looking for my search query performance. Should I make sure those search terms are being targeted in advertising? Great question. I would say yes, if your conversion rates are good for those keywords. Now, I will say sometimes what shows up in search query performance report does not always have really high impressions when you target in advertising, and honestly, vice versa. So I'd say yes, but you don't want to throw anything in there if your conversion rates are really low. And to be honest, some of those things that I've seen show up in search query performance reports, even though like Amazon's like, hey, these are your search queries, sometimes they don't really make sense for the product. So I would say yes, but like use your best judgment. Also for ACOG reduction, don't you think improving conversion rate is important than adjusting bids and placements? Yes, but that's getting into listing optimization, not ad optimization. Anything you do to improve a product conversion rate will improve everything across the board. So is it important? Yes. Does it have more of an impact? Yes. One, it's harder. And then two, really when it comes to improving conversion rates, if we're only talking ad optimizations, the biggest thing is just what targets are you going after? So and sometimes like you need to rank on a specific keyword. You can't really like change the target out. So I would say bids, really, if we're just talking ad optimizations, bids are going to be your biggest lever to pull when it comes to reducing ACOS. What launch strategies are you currently using? Good question. So we are focusing in on sponsored product ads, mainly focusing on an exact match. And I've said it before here, and I'll mention it again. The most important thing to get right when it comes to launch is going to be what keywords you choose to target. And so let me see if I can find it, because I have a sheet. I don't even know if I released this publicly. Maybe I should. But really, you want to curate that keyword list by one, how relevant it is to your product, and then two, how much the cost per click is. So here you could see like this particular keyword, dog toys. I would look at it and say like, hey, there's a ton of search volume here, but the cost per click is high. And depending on what I think my conversion rate is, which I'm forecasting like an average 7% conversion rate here, I'm going to need a $96 roughly. This is a rough estimate, but I need to forecast a rough like $96 a day just on this one keyword, which is going to be really expensive. Now, because this cost per click is much lower, I can afford less. And if we found some better like cost, some other keywords where I thought cost per click would be lower, then I can afford less. So really what I find a lot of sellers, unfortunately, like beginner sellers, and so this is what we like avoid because we should be more advanced in the basics, is making sure we're not only curating that list by what makes sense for the product, but also what the brand can afford and also given their goals. So, but again, sponsored products, exact match, single ad group, not multiple ad groups. If you can start with a high bid, that's great. Some of our brands want to be a little bit more profit conscious, and so we might launch the keyword bids lower and then work our way up from there. Thanks for your help. Have a great day. Thank you. I hope you do as well. All right, another question. What would you do? Took over PPC account that had campaigns all over the place. I hate this, but it happens. Okay. I would want to know which products are the house on fire products. I'm not even looking at the ads yet. I'm simply looking at the products. Okay. So I would want to put together a report, break down the sales for all of the products, the spend for all of the products. Then I want to know ACoS, total ACoS, the ad sale percentage, meaning how much is coming from like ads in organic. And then I want to look at the unit session percentage versus the product conversion rate is what I'm looking at. What I'm doing here is I'm looking for house on fire situations. I can't tell you how many times I've done this analysis on an account, like a new account. I'd be like, oh my gosh, there's these two products where like the average of the account total ACoS is like 15%, but these two products are running at like 23% total ACoS. Those are house on fire products. Then what I want to know is where are those products being advertised? So what I'm doing in this process, just so you know, like the thought process behind it is like I'm sure you're staring at this account and you're like, there's 20 different things I could do and 100 more that are on my like back burner list, right? And you're looking at this huge mess of campaigns and everything's everywhere and you don't know where anything is. And you're just trying to be like, but my goal is not just to like give you a checklist, like, is to go through and like, where can you make the biggest moves quickly to get a quick win? Like the faster you can move on that quick win, big lever, the more impact you're going to make on the account for the better. So if you wanted like a blanket quick win, it's always going to be what in the account is spending money and not generating sales. So clicks with no sale keywords, clicks with no sale search terms, clicks with no sale product variations is a huge one. So that's like a get rid of it, get all the waste out of here. And then my second thing is doing this product level analysis, identifying the specific products to focus in on. And then product tab inside the ad console is going to be your best friend here. You're then taking that product you identified, you're going and you're searching it using the product tab, which is going to allow you to pop open an overview, and it's going to literally tell you where in my entire account are these products being advertised, which is like fabulous. So notoriously difficult to figure that out before this. Amazon has made it easier for us, and for that we thank them. And so then you can pop open and you can say, where are the house on fire campaigns? And then you can begin like really honing in and like banging out the ad structure for those specific products, which again, because those are the house on fire products, that will make the biggest impact. So hopefully that was helpful. Well, let me know. All right, I got a lot of these. I'm going to see if I can bang them out. How can we translate brand loyalty to data action? I would say anytime you're looking at the specific performance of a keyword and the total ACoS of a product and making your optimizations off of that, that's how you're going to make the best database decisions. It's a little bit hard to know, like, this particular keyword is leading to more repeat purchases. You can get new to brand orders from sponsored brands. So if your goal is to like brand loyalty, then you could just optimize for new to brand, but I wouldn't ignore the performance data. All right, saying this is super helpful. I appreciate it. Glad it's been helpful. What would you do if you took over a PPC account? All right, we just answered that one. Is it bad if I pause them and start? Oh, don't pause them, Keith. Don't pause them. Don't do it. Don't pause them. I lovingly, not so lovingly, refer to these types of campaigns as franking campaigns. I feel your pain, Keith. I feel your pain, and you're like, I just want to burn it down and I want to start over because this is hell. It's going to be hell. In not saying you can't improve it. It's definitely improvements that can be done. There's ways to optimize this, but like the best foot forward is going to be making sure that you are not upsetting the apple cart. If you pause everything and restart it, I can guarantee you that brand is going to take a massive hit to their sales, and they're going to be super pissed off with you, and you're like immediately going to start off on the worst foot forward. So what I would recommend doing is that process that I outlined earlier. So you want to look at one, you can go through and pause things that have never performed before. Targeting tab is your absolute best friend here. So you want to look at all time in targeting tab. And then you want to go through sort by like orders equals 0, clicks equals 0. So you can start pausing all the stuff and adding all the negatives of stuff that is not performing. Do that 100%. But then when it comes to untangling these things, again, the figuring out your priority products here is key. I say this because, I mean, like, we manage brands where there's like 20,000, 50,000 SKUs. Imagine an absolute nightmare mess of campaigns with hundreds of products in them, all over the map, everything combined, and 50,000 SKUs. That's literally the nightmare mode accounts that we've gotten in and dealt with. And that's how we do it. That's how we get phenomenal results. Is what are the problem products? Where are the house on fires? Hone in on that. Fix that first, because that's going to fix the account. Those are the bottlenecks to growth in the account. Then if you fix those things, then you move on to the next and the next and next, and you work your way through it. I would love if the algorithm allowed me to pause everything and start over. It doesn't. So you just got to roll with the punches. Oh, we have a keyword research sheet. Sorry, my voice is about to go. All right. The keyword research sheet. Yes, we have a keyword research sheet. This is one. Let me share this as well. This one, I believe, feeds into the do we have a, I swear we had how to use this thing. Let's see if I can find the one where I actually have a demo in it, because that probably would be good. Either way, let me share this one. I'll drop it in the comments if anyone wants to snag a keyword research sheet. Feel free. My gift to you. All right, we're rolling right through here. I lost my spot. All right. What defensive campaign strategy you follow for no large of catalog? Yes. Defensive campaigns, there's a couple different campaigns you could do. You could do keyword targeting, and you can do product targeting. So we run both. The easiest way to do product targeting is just take all of your products. This is not the best, most incremental way to do it, but if you want to get something up fast, you can take all of the catalog for products, throw them in a sponsored product targeting campaign, exact match. If you want it brand defense, do exact match. And then you take all of the products and you put them in the ad group as advertised, and then everything just kind of cross sells. That's not the best incremental campaign. I would 100% recommend keeping bids low here and optimizing for profitability. But if you wanted to see like which products work best in brand defense, then that's a really good, quick, and easy way to do it. Another thing that you want to make sure is if you have any sort of brand search available for the product, you can 100% leverage that traffic for product launches. I would highly recommend that. If you have any brand with any sort of really good search volume, that way you can immediately put those new products in front of shoppers who already know, like, and trust the brand, and you can get much better momentum. Of course, you know, how well that works is dependent on the brand traffic, like how much they have. Generally, for lower conversion rate products, our product targeting ads work better, or video ads. In this case, the keyword targeting is always unprofitable. Yep. I would say product targeting ads are probably going to work well. I would test both. You can always test things with low. This is what we typically do. We'll test it with a low budget, figure out what works, and then go from there. Last week, I mentioned the idea of creating a video on sponsor display. We're eagerly waiting for it, excited to see what come up with you. Awesome. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Let me know how those video ads go. I'm sorry, me, can we benefit? Oh, can we benefit from the brand loyalty report that shows the number of repeat customers by date? Yes, it can be helpful. One thing, so if you're looking at repeat customers, the good news is that those sales will show up in your business reports, which means that your total A costs will show improvement. If you have so if those repeat purchases, that's increasing sales, total A cost is ad spend divided by total sales. So as those total sales repeat purchases increase, your total A costs will improve. So the good news is that if you're just tracking your normal metrics, you'll actually notice the improvements based off of that. Where these reports are very helpful is to like validate why those additional purchases are coming in and show that like you have repeat customers. And that's like where that impact is coming from. So I recommend. I launched my products 3 months ago. Organic sales are so low. Competitor took reviews after sending 30 samples through the Vine program. What should I do? Sponsored sales are good as compared to organic sales. So my recommendations are going to be identify the keywords in your account where you have really good search, like where you have really good conversion rates, order volume that are working really well. So now that you have data, you don't want to focus on everything. Just like double down and see if you can improve rank on the keywords that you've have the data to prove that they're working for your product. That will also typically improve conversion rates as well. All right, Keith, how do you determine if high cost keywords are getting your organic rank and worth still spending? How would you adjust the bids? Good question. So how we do this is you want to be tracking your keywords. Use a really good keyword tracker. Couple ones that we recommend. We use Helium Tons Classic. Datarova is a good if you want just like a specific keyword tracker. We're also testing out Viral Launch as well. Is another good option. And actually, they have really good cost structures at Viral Launch. They're like an OG in the space, and we reconnected with them, and I've been pretty impressed with what they're building. So highly recommend. Again, it's really just like if I'm spending more on the advertising, is my rank improving? It's a manual process to check those things. But that's how I would do it. And in terms of bid optimizations, for rank keywords, I would recommend an incremental or very slow bid decreases. You don't want to like jump it down 20, 30%. You probably, sometimes we're only decreasing by a couple of cents. It depends on how high the A cost is getting and how unprofitable it's making the account though. So it's kind of like it's a sliding scale. What is your strategy on high bid costs and low price items? Great question. And it's honestly a difficult one. I don't know if you were here earlier, but I shared this profitability. There's a sheet demo in it. It's got like a whole P&L breakdown and a bunch of stuff. But really the goal here, so if it's a low price product and we only have net profit of like $3, unfortunately my break-even cost per click can only be 30 cents before I'm like at least not losing money, at least not if 100% of my orders are coming from ads. However, if you have a profit goal, what you can do is if you offset these ad sales with organic sales, so like 50% is coming from ads, then I can afford to go up to 40 cents on my target CPC. So that's really what you're looking to do, and that's how you would make any of these kind of accounts profitable. Is you need to be able to get enough organic order volume to offset ad costs, and that's it's rough. I'll be honest with you, it's rough. It's not easy, Keith, but that's how you do it. That's really the only way to do it. All right, last one. All right, got one more on books. I'm running a low bid targeting for Amazon book. It ends up not spending, and if I keep upping bids and down, costs increase. This is resulting in my budget spending quickly at low clicks. Bid up and down. Try down only. See if down only, because up and down, what up and down does is it will up to double your bid. So here, if the goal is low cost, I put out a honestly, I think it's on LinkedIn. Let me see if I can find it on LinkedIn. I put out something on like the bidding strategies a little while ago, and I'm like, all right, there's not like a best bidding strategy, honestly. Like it's kind of an all the above, and what should you use when. But if I had to, like if you absolutely forced me to pick a quote best bidding strategy, I'm going to pick dynamic down only, because it's the most like universal, works the most, or like the most often. And then my second one would be if you are struggling to gain impressions. Sometimes fixed bids can help you get more impressions than dynamic down only. So I would try those things. And by the way, if you're not following me on LinkedIn, you totally should, because I'm putting out a ton of awesome content. I'll open this one now on the bidding strategy and share this tab. So you see me in real life. I'm not the best producer, but hopefully you guys are finding value. Because, all right, let's get into it. I talk about bidding strategy. Like, there's not really one size fits all. But like dynamic down only, if you really wanted to control cost, it is really the best one. Again, dynamic up and down, it can work, but it can also spike your cost per clicks, which means you might not be as profitable. Fixed bidding, if you really want to maximize traffic. So our workflow is typically on launches, we'll probably use fixed bidding because our goal here is really just impressions. If our goal is more profitability, we might use dynamic down only. And then if we're struggling to get impressions, we'll switch over to fixed bids. We rarely will use dynamic up and down bidding. Hopefully that's helpful. And with that, I'm 6 minutes over and nearly lost my voice, but I think we got to everyone's questions. So I appreciate everyone showing up. Hopefully it gave you all a lot of value. Hopefully you have some awesome tactics and strategies to be able to go through and improve your Amazon advertising. And with everything, make sure you catch if you want to catch the replay, I share a lot of tactics and tricks. The best way to do that is going to be on YouTube. We also put this out in podcast form as well. So highly recommend you check it out there. And with that, I will see you all same time, same place next week. Thanks so much, guys. And that wraps up this episode of the Ask Junglr Amazon Advertising Podcast. I hope you found these insights and strategies helpful in your Amazon PPC journey. Remember, if you have a burning Amazon ad question that you'd like answers to, head over to junglr.com/live to join our next live Q&A session. Until next time, keep optimizing those ads and stay hungry.